All right, so let's with someone else. Okay, let's start sitting either in your chair or in your chair or on the floor, however you're most comfortable. All right. So I wanted to, before I start, let me say the reason I started this class, this particular one at this time, is I had these two clients. They were private clients because they didn't feel comfortable coming to a yoga class, and they had a lot of movement limitations. And so in their very first class, they came in and I said, okay, now, so just so I can decide where we're going to start, can you get up and down off the ground? And that was a big question. You know, like, I actually don't know if I can get up and down off the ground, and how important that capacity is, and how easy it is to actually lose it over time, right? So that I wanted to have a place where people felt safe to work on things like getting up and down off the ground. And so that's why I started this class. I wanted it to not just be for those two, but for anybody else who needed to keep working on those skills. So with them in mind, I decided to go back and do some of the chair yoga. But if we feel challenged in our balance, you know, and maybe you just want to do a little yoga sitting down, that you have these tools that we can use. And the theme of today's class works in with that. So I am listening on Audible to this recorded workshop from Pema Chodron. So Pema Chodron is a Buddhist teacher, and her workshop is called Living Beautifully. And I think what I think of it as really, you know, her teachings are about how to be resilient. And she's acknowledging, when she recorded it, she's talking about challenging times. I don't think she had any idea what was coming. Like that surely where we are today is more challenging than where we were when she recorded that workshop. But she talks about how life is like a fast-moving river, right? And we have this tendency to want to hold on to where we are. And so she picked these two banks. She picked fear as one of the places that we hold on to. It prevents us from moving forward. And she also picked control. We want to, that's not. She picked hope. I picked control. She picked hope. And so the idea that if we hope for something, then sometimes that creates suffering. It's because if our hopes don't align with what is, we suffer. Now, that idea of hoping for things and seeing that as a negative is a Buddhist issue. And I don't align completely with Buddhism. I think there's a lot of really great things in Buddhism. But I do believe in hope. I think hope is a really good motivator to keep us progressing forward. But that idea of being afraid of how life is changing, and also of holding on so tightly to how it is that we don't just let ourselves flow, I think that's something really relevant to consider. And certainly that's a big part of yoga. So there's this word in yoga called aparigraha, and it means non-clinging. So it's this invitation to practice letting go and being in the flow. So we're gonna work on spinal fluidity today, and we're gonna work on the flow of our breath a little bit. And when I planned class, it was that day, a couple of days where it was so hot. So I wanted today's class to be a little cooling as well. Mother Nature helped us out a little bit, but we'll do some yoga cooling practices too. Okay, so we're gonna start with a seated meditation in your chair. Even if I'm in a chair, I like to cross my legs, but you can keep your feet flat on the floor, or you can try this position out if you like. Maybe 1 foot over feels good. Yeah. All right, and then once you get situated in your seat, go ahead and close your eyes and feel into your breath and feel into your body. And just allow yourself a moment to contemplate the theme of today's class, this idea of life flows like a river. And we can either go with that flow, or we can cling onto the bank. And in Pema Chodron's teaching, the idea is that if you hang onto the bank, there's just a lot of beating that happens. You know, the waves are just going to keep beating you. So you want to let go and be in that flow, to be brave in all the transitions that rise up for us as we move through life. The first part of our life is about growing and building and pulling new skills and new opportunities in. And maybe the second half of our life really is about learning to let some of them go, to be in the flow. Allowing yourself as much as you can in this moment to soften a bit, to soften this idea of needing to control, to soften your attachment to fear. And then breathing in and out of your nose, we're gonna stick the tongue out of the mouth just a little tiny bit, so the tip of your tongue sticks out. If you can, you curl your tongue into a straw kind of shape. And then the next time that you breathe in, you're gonna breathe in right down the center of your tongue, so you should feel like a cool stream of breath move along the top of the tongue. And then when it's time to breathe out, you place your cooled tongue on the roof of your mouth and breathe out through your nose. So you're going to breathe in through your mouth over the tongue, and then you close your mouth, press the tongue on the roof of your mouth, and breathe out through your nose. So a few more times like that. And the idea here is to actually pull cool air in and to have a sense of savoring that coolness and allowing yourself to feel your capacity to cool, to bring a sense of coolness to some of the hot situations. And then while you might not have the same temperature sensation and cooling of the mouth, imagine that you can cool any inner fires. Those fires that pop up when we're afraid or anxious or angry. And that all of those emotions have a place and a purpose. You just don't want to get stuck in them for too long. And then let your breath return to normal. And as we move through the class, maybe you can have a sense of continuing to keep an idea that the breath can be cooling. And if you want to play with that, it's called satali. You want to play with that breath technique at any time you can. Let's do one Om together, bringing your hands together in front of your heart. And we'll breathe out through the nose, and back in through your nose now. Returning to your gentle breath. And then release your hands and open your eyes. Okay, so now you have a choice. You can stay sitting and move all the way to the edge of your chair, or you can stand up. So we're going to do either sitting or standing. And then you're just going to lean over to one side to get a nice, big side body stretch. So the benefit of being in the chair actually is that you can push really powerfully down through the hand and the hip and really open up your side waist. And then head on over to the other side. And you're pushing down through your legs and your hips and lifting up through your heart. Big, full, deep breath. Relax both arms down, and then either sitting or standing, breathe in, reach up, look up, and then breathe out. Just have the idea of letting go. Just let your arms fall. So there's kind of an effort in rising, and then there's an ease in letting go. So it's nice and gentle in your movements. We'll do two more, and you can go at a quicker pace or a slower pace. Whatever feels best for you. And then after your total 4 or 5, when your arms come down, you can keep them down and give your shoulders a good roll. And then move your head, neck, however feels best for you. Make sure you try to keep your breath flowing well, so you stay in the flow of life. All right, come back to neutral. So in the studio, we're kind of in a circle today, so I'm not going to mirror. I'm just going to do my own right arm, and you'll do your own right arm. So it might look different depending where you are. But We're going to cross the right arm across and scoop the left arm under. Now, instead of thinking about your right arm pulling forward and across, you pull the right shoulder back and down. And then move your head the other direction to the left. And so what you're really trying to do is anchor the right shoulder down as you move your head to the left, so you'll really stretch these side neck muscles. And breathe in there. And then roll your head forward and just kind of wiggle it around a little bit, allowing yourself to be aware of where the highest level of tension might live in your body. And use movement to soften it, like a massage. And then breathe in and open your arms up, stretch really wide, lift your heart, lift your head a little bit, and then rewrap the left arm in front and the right arm under. And then again, pull the left shoulder back and down, and drop your head to the right. And really breathe in and out. And remember, we're always going to do both sides, so if you ever do the wrong side, it's okay, just do the other side the next time. So you don't want to get too caught up in correct right and left. And just move your head if you haven't done that yet. Good, and then inhale, open it up. Big stretch as you reach. And then exhale, relax your arms down. All right, we're gonna come standing. If you are sitting, we'll stand now. And I'm just gonna, I don't have the projector on today, so I'm gonna check and make sure everyone's still good at home. Looking good. All right, then, so put your chair in front of you, or step behind your chair there. And we're just going to do our traditional heel lift. So we're just lifting the heels. So you're pressing down to the balls of your feet, lifting and lowering. Strengthening your calves. And then practice staying up. Squeeze your butt, squeeze your belly. Maybe lift one hand off the chair. Switch them. Maybe both. Okay, good. Come down. Step your right heel back and down. Your left knee is bending forward. I just want to give that calf some time to lengthen. Take a few good full deep breaths in and out there. And then we'll switch right foot forward, left foot back. And you let yourself feel that first level of tension. And feel yourself with the capacity to let it go. Now, the interesting thing about the muscles is that they want to let go unless we push them too hard. And so if the tension doesn't let go, it just means we're pushing them too hard. So if we back out a little bit, sometimes it'll actually be a deeper release. Okay, good. Everyone, take your dog, so either chair dog or downward dog if you prefer. Take a few good, full, deep breaths there. Okay, good. And then come all the way back up, standing tall. All right, we're going to take our pyramid pose. So your right foot is forward, your left foot is back. And using the edge of the chair, you're going to want to scooch back away from it a little bit. With your right foot forward, put your your right hand on your sacrum. And make sure your hips are as level, as even as they can be behind you. So not diagonal where the right hip's pulled forward. Pull your right hip back. And then either keep your hand on your hip or bring it back to your chair and start to lean over your chair. And then you might bring your forearms to the chair. If you're not using a chair, you can just have your hands on your shin. And if you are using the chair, then the nice thing is you can let your head rest down, maybe. And that usually feels pretty good. And stay connected to the rhythm of your breath. And again, we're just giving the muscles time to let go. We don't need to rush. We don't need to, if we're hanging on the bank, we're not going to pry the hands off the bank, but we want to start to soften, find the courage to let go into this new rhythm of life. Okay, good. Come on up and switch. Left foot forward and right foot back. And put your left hand on your sacrum down at your lower back, and make sure your hips are pretty level. And we do want the front leg all the way straight to start. And then hinge from your hips. Try to keep your legs straight and your spine straight. So it's really truly is a hinge at the hip, not a rounding of your spine. We're creating some stability. If we have banks, so the hips and the shoulders, and we want them to be nice and stable here. And then encourage a sense of length through your spine. Along the two sides of the spine, we have these big columns of muscles called the erector muscles. And we're going to focus in on them a lot today, encouraging them to lengthen. Okay, good. And then step back to your chair dog or downward dog. And feel the banks, your two sides hips, two side shoulders. There's two sides of columns of muscles along the spine. And encourage them all to lengthen. Your hips to press back, your heart, your head to reach forward, the sides of your body lengthening. Okay, good. And then come up standing. Now, we're going to do side stretching again. So you can stay standing or you can sit down if you prefer. And then we're going to interlace the fingers and press the palms forward. Stretch your arms up overhead and lean to one side. So I'm going to lean to the right. You can lean to the left if you like. And just really think about stretching that left side bank, opposite side bank of your spine. So these side body muscles can act like anchors on the spine. So you want to lift those anchors so there can be a little more fluid motion through the spine. Come up and go the other side. I think a lot of times we think of our spine as, the hard bony structure, which it is, but of course inside of it, it's protecting the spinal cord, all the nerves, the electricity, and the fluid, cerebrospinal fluid that connects our brain and bathes the nerves, keeps them all healthy. Good, come on up. Okay, you're either going to take Bandhasana or squat pose, so your feet are wide and you're squatting down, or you're just squatting in your chair and reaching your arms up. And so if you're in the chair, focus on the extension up through your arms, and this will strengthen your back. So you're either squatting in the middle of the room, or you're squatting but your hips are supported, and then everyone stretch your arms up overhead now. Good, so if you're not using the chair, it gets real hard real quick. Try to keep your breath and really think about strengthening up through your spine. Okay, good everybody, come all the way up standing tall. And if you're still sitting, just stretch one leg out and circle out your ankle, and if you're standing up, lift your foot, circle out your ankle. That's Wade. In case you didn't know he was here. There he is. And switch sides. So, Wade just ran through the middle of the room. Okay, so we're gonna do an interesting side angle pose. So everyone's gonna sit on the corner of your chair. And if you're not using a chair at home, you can just do standing side angle pose. So you sit on the corner of the chair. Now, turn your right toes outward and stretch your left leg straight back behind you. Yep. Now, put your right elbow on your right thigh. Okay, and then stretch your left arm straight up to the sky. Yeah, you got it. Take a big, full, deep breath. I didn't say chair yoga was going to really be easy. Right. Just new and different. Okay, good. And then we'll go to the other side. Turn your left toes out. Turn your right toes in. Or just the other way. So one knee is bent, and the knee that's bent, that foot points straight forward. And then the other leg straight turns in. Yeah, you're getting it. And then elbow to thigh. And your top arm. The top arm can either just go straight up to the ceiling, or you can take it alongside your ear. So just whatever feels good to open up the side body. Good full deep breaths. Okay, good. And then we're going to take goddess squat. So you can be standing like this, or you can sit on the edge of your chair. And then we're going to do a little forward fold, so touch the ground. And as long as it feels good in your body, let your head hang down. Now I want to remind you that this is an inversion, so it raises your blood pressure, it moves blood to your head. That can be challenging for your blood pressure. It can also be challenging in your eyes. If you have any issues with your eyes where their pressure matters, and be conscientious of that, maybe not hold it so long forward. Good, everybody, come all the way back up, standing tall. Okay, now this one is for this quad stretch. So, we do this one standing up. But here, you're gonna turn all the way sideways on your chair with your left knee parallel to the back edge of your chair, and then your right knee pointing down. And then stretch your arms up overhead and maybe lean back a little bit. And if you want more stretch, you see if you can wiggle that back foot further back and maybe even stretch it straight to a lunge. So that's going to stretch your psoas, and it's going to stretch your quad. And then we get to do this without worrying about balance. Take a good deep heart breath. Good, and then release and go to the other side. So remember, these muscles get real tight sitting. If we're sitting too much or laying on our side curled up, it gets real tight. So this is a really good one to work on every day. Pointing the knee to the floor, the back knee points to the floor. Maybe you wiggle it back a little more. And then reach your arms up, hug your belly in, and lean back if that feels good in your body. Take a good deep heart breath there. Everyone looks great. Okay, good. And then release out of that. Okay, one more sitting. You're going to turn sideways in your chair. So I've turned so my left hip is against the back of the chair. And then you're just going to turn your body to the back of your chair, and one hand holds onto either side of the back of the chair. Yeah, you're correct. So you're like, bring your left hand to the left side of the chair, and then twist. And now you get a little traction to really help you get a big twist to your waist. I got a couple of vertebrae that cracked right there, which felt good for me. So however much pressure feels good, really use the chair to help you twist deep in your body. You stay with your breath. Twisting will help us also keep that fluidity in the spine. Good, and then just gonna walk your feet around to the other side. So you turn to face the back of your chair and have one hand on either side of the chair. Lift your torso up real high and then twist through your waist. You're going to try to keep your hips pretty even. So the twisting happens through the lumbar spine and up through the ribs and then up all the way to your neck. Let your head turn. Good deep heart breath there. Okay, good. And then release. All right, good. We're going to neutralize either in chair dog or downward dog. Take a couple of breaths. Lengthening your spine, bringing your body back into balance. Okay, and then come on up standing tall. So, I lead teacher trainings, and usually the people that come to the teacher trainings have been doing yoga for a really long time and feel like the point of yoga is to do these fancy poses. And a lot of them are very fit, and they take a lot of things for granted, right?
Wake up time. That's what's coming.
How lucky they are.
Cat-cow, I think, is one of them on hands and knees. So if our knees are challenged, then cat-cow is such a good pose, but it can be hard to do. So we're going to do cat-cow with our hands on the seat of the chair. So you can move your chair forward, or you can just turn around. You're going to put your hands on the seat of your chair. Walk your feet back and keep your knees bent. And then move your spine through its capacity for arching and rounding. So you're going to bend your knees deep and sink your belly low and look forward to arch. And then tuck your head in, hug your belly in. Your legs can go a little more straight and you round. Good, everyone. And not to exaggerate those motions. So really try to get as much arching and rounding movement through your spine as you can. And see if you can, try to make it easier on yourself if there's any way that you can. So sometimes taking the feet wider, you could even put your hands up on the top of the chair instead of the seat of the chair maybe if you feel like it's hard to move. Stay connected to your breath. We're just going to do a few more, encouraging fluidity for the spine. All right, and then come to neutral, stretch it long. Good, and then come on up, standing tall. I'm trying to think back on my class plan real quick, because once I get you down on the ground, I don't really like to bring you back up.
Here we go, just running.
Let's make sure I didn't forget anything important. All right, I think we're good. So you can come lay down on your side. Lay down on your right side. And then laying on your right side, bend your knees and bring your hands behind your head. Squeeze your knees together and then turn your heart chest open towards the sky. Just a nice, gentle, easy twist. No. And then come back onto your right side. And bring your knee into your chest. Turn your knee to the ceiling and stretch your top leg up towards the ceiling. And you can point and flex your top foot up there at the top, circle your ankle, wiggle your toes. And then bring your leg down and we'll do our sideline quad stretch. So bend your knee and reach down for your hand for your foot or your ankle. And bend your leg back. Stay with your breath. Okay, and then release and we'll do those 3 exercises on the other side. So you're starting off with the little twist. Knees stacked, hands behind your head, and then turn your heart chest open to the sky. Good deep heart breath there. Couple more moments in this pose. And then come back onto your left side, bring your knee into your chest and turn it, point it to the ceiling. And then stretch your top leg up to the sky. Point and flex your foot and circle your ankle. And wiggle your toes. Stay connected to your breath. So these leg up positions are really good for flow, for our circulation. The heart gets a little bit of a break from pushing the blood down through the legs and pumping it back up. So a good pose to cool off a little bit cardiovascularly. Good, release your leg down, come onto your back. Did I miss that one? Oh, quad stretch, okay, thank you. Bend your knee back and reach down with your hand for your foot or your ankle. And take the knee behind you. Lengthening through the front of your groin, the top of the thigh. Good, full deep breaths. Okay, now come on back to your back. Do a couple rounds of windshield wipers laying on your back. So your feet wider than your hips and just let your knees wash side to side. You can go at whatever pace feels best for you. So you can go, you can have a real slow flow. You can let it move quicker. I'm thinking of all the water rides at the water parks, like the lazy river, and then there's the super speed slide. So, you can set the tone of your flow here. And check in with the rhythm of your breath. Make sure that feels good. Good, and then bring your feet to the floor with your heels lined up with your sitting bones and your arms right next to the sides of your body. Your knees are bent. We'll do bridge pose. So you're going to press down into your shoulders and lift your hips up. Good. We're going to hold this for a little bit of time. And then lower your hips down and take a pause. You should take that out for this next exercise. Okay, please take your right leg up to the ceiling. So now it's going straight up and we get a good hamstring stretch that way. And point and flex your foot, circle your ankle, wiggle your toes. If you want to hold on with your hands to the back of your thigh, you can pull the leg in and maybe get a little more release of the tension that lives back in those hamstrings. Good, and then cross your right ankle over your left knee so that you're in resting pigeon pose. And our main action is to rotate the right leg outward. And then if you want to, you can draw the left leg in towards you to get a deeper hip stretch, release. Good, full, deep breaths. Feel the flow of your breath and maybe allow yourself to be conscious of any places that feel a little sticky or stuck or held. And just practice holding that idea of letting go, being in the flow. Okay, we're going to slide the right knee over the left knee. So you've got those pretzel legs. And drop your legs to the left. If it feels good, you can stretch your arms out to a T and turn your head and look over your right shoulder. Now, if we have disc or nerve issues in our spinal column, we're going to be real careful with the twisting. So make sure that you don't feel any pinching, any shooting sensations. Everything should feel sweet and good and nice. Good, everyone. Come on up. Unwind your legs, do a couple rounds of windshield wipers, just kind of softening things up. Think of what a good soap or a good rinse can do if something's stuck and hard, softening things up. And then we'll go ahead and take the whole series on the other side. So left ankle is crossing over the right knee for your resting pigeon. And you have the option to keep the, oh, thank you, Molly. We got your hamstring stretch. Stretch your, I'm off today. I'm off on my memory. See, I'm losing it too.
Welcome to our home.
Don't take that hamstring deposit.
All right, the leg up, circle your ankle, wiggle your toes. Well, having a good memory isn't all about youth because I have Hoyt. So I know that that is not just an age issue. There's lots of room for new ideas in a brain like that. Okay, left ankle over the right knee now. And then you can work on just the rotation or you can draw the leg in if you want to. Stay connected to your breath. Soft, cooling breaths. Particularly if you've been feeling any inner intensity, worry, fear, doubt, aggression. Letting yourself have some time and some space where there's more peace. We'll take a couple more breaths here on this side so we are pretty even with the first side. Alright, and then go ahead and cross the knee over knee and let your legs drop over to your right. And your arms can stretch out. You can look over your shoulder. Stay connected to your breath. Come on back to your back, and then either take resting butterfly with your feet together and your knees dropping out to the sides, or do the opposite constructive rest, where your feet are wide and your knees not be together. And in both cases, we want to encourage a softening of the inner thighs. So if the legs are out for butterfly, you're going to get a stretch. And if the knees are not beneath, then you can let them rest. In all cases, breathe nice and deep and full into your belly. Your belly rise and fall. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of a challenging posture next. So we're going to come back to bridge pose. And the point of this pose is to build strength in your hips that allow the spine to feel supported and mobile. So you're going to come up into your bridge. If you need extra, if you feel like you need more support, you can take your arms wider apart and push them into the ground really powerfully. And then see if you can push down into your right foot and lift your left foot up off the ground, keeping your hips elevated. Yeah, great. And then maybe stretch the left leg also up to the ceiling. And if that leg can go up, really exaggerate. The right leg pressing down, the left leg reaching up, and feel yourself challenging the muscles in the backs of your legs and your hips. Okay, good, come down. Wash it out. Windshield wipers, wash it out.
You're supposed to breathe.
Yeah, you are supposed to breathe. So now you know for next time. All right, so we have to do the other side. We got to do the other bank, the other hip. So you're coming to bridge when you're ready. Now, this, for most of us, our right leg probably has more of a dominant leg. So this side might be a little harder. You can push down really strong through your left leg, and then float your right knee, right foot. Maybe stretch it up. Good. Know that when you feel challenged, it is building some strength and power in place of that challenge. Stay with your breath, good and full and deep. Maybe a couple more, so we're got more balance with the first side. Hanging in there. Good job, everybody. Okay, come down. All right, we need another hamstring stretch, probably, right?
Yes.
Stretch your right leg up to the sky and lengthen those muscles that got tight. And then switch sides. And I knew I was forgetting something earlier.
No.
If we didn't have 22 minutes left, I would skip it, but we have time.
You got time, guys.
We're gonna do it, so you gotta come back up standing.
Oh.
But here's the thing, you get a really extra long rest after that, okay? So come up to your
Come on, you
feet.
can do it.
Come up to your feet.
I thought we were going to that part pretty soon.
Yeah, well, we were.
I think you're programmed to do it.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna show some variations, and then you're gonna pick the variations that feel good for you. And there's a lot of parts. So this is eagle pose, and I can't even do eagle correctly to the fancy version. Okay, so eagle arms goes like this. One arm's over and one arm's under. That's the easy version. The hard version is that your arms interlace. So again, I'm just showing you the parts right now, and then you'll practice what you like. So those are eagle arms. Now, for eagle legs, you need balance. And so we can supplement balance with the chair, or even better yet, the wall. and eagle legs, one knee crosses over the other. And then if you can, this other foot pokes behind. But look, I can't get mine, so I can cheat it. I can push it. And then the pose looks like that. So just play a little bit, and if you're feeling concerned about your balance, use the chair and just practice crossing one knee over the other knee. And maybe you practice balancing with your arms out. And just experiment a little bit. So they say that the thing that will keep our brains young is facing new challenges. So there's this thing called neuroplasticity. Your brain is plastic. And the more challenges you present for it, the more your brain has an opportunity to grow. So, let yourself play a little bit. I'm going to bring you this chair. And then you can practice one-legged standing. Oh, there you go. So in the room, got some people who put their back all the way against the wall. That's nice. Did you learn that somewhere? Or?
From Elaine.
Which you had to have shown us before, but I would not have thought.
I hated to say that.
That just killed you too. Sorry, you guys. Sorry, you guys don't keep me.
They can't hear you too much
Good.
there. They can probably hear the laughter and the chatter, but it all comes through the mic. Okay, hopefully you've gone to the other side. If you didn't go to the other side yet, go to the other side.
It hurts the inside of my knee.
Oh, yeah.
It lets you know it's there.
I've never done that.
It's good. Everyone's good. This should be our picture, I think. No?
Some people,
Yes, we get to vote on that.
as long as we can cover our faces.
Yeah, really. Go ahead, take my picture.
All right, good. All right, good, everyone. Good. I lost all the
Gosh,
videos.
it was so fun.
Yay! Worth getting up for. Okay. Do a chair dog or a wall dog, and then the next thing is laying down for a good long time after that.
Yay. I gotta get back up though.
Okay, come on up, and we are going to do a legs up rest. We're going to do 2 versions, so we'll do legs up, and then you can have flat shavasana if you want. Now, in most yoga classes, they just do legs up the wall, but legs up your chair, even on your couch, is great. It's a really good pose for your lower back, more so than legs straight, because the hamstrings are relaxed. So you can put your shins up on your chair. If you prefer legs up the wall with your legs straight, go ahead and do that too. Okay, so get into your position. We do have 15 minutes left together. So it is a long rest. I'm going to do a little bit of sound, so the chimes and the gong. I hope it sounds good at home. I will check in with you, and if it doesn't translate well, you can let me know, and I will just let us be in silence. So getting situated, checking in with your breath. I think this idea of letting go. What is it that prevents us from letting go into the flow of life that is ever changing? Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's the desire for control. Maybe it's something a little more unique for you. What makes you feel hard, rigid, brittle? See if you can have a sense of being the opposite. Feel the support that is present for you in this posture. So the ground, and then your vertical axis. So the chair, the wall. And allow yourself to consider your own inner support structure, the bones, the muscles that stabilize your bones and that allow you to move them. And allow yourself to acknowledge your fluid quality. I'm not great with remembering exact numbers, but it's around 80% water that you are. And for every bit of you that feels like physical matter, more of you is energy, pure energy. The main core teaching of Buddhism is that the material world is impermanent. This is the biggest truth that any of us are dealing with on this planet, whether we acknowledge it on a daily basis or not. That life energy is moving and changing. But in these Eastern traditions, there's also the acknowledgement of an impermanent aspect of ourselves. I grew up Catholic, so I acknowledge that as spirit. Maybe you acknowledge it as something else. And so in yoga, which means union, we are looking to make sure that we are uniting and reuniting this physical and spiritual aspect of ourselves. And in doing that, supporting that union in the world around us. So in this time of letting your physical body rest, see if you can have a sense of connecting to that pure energy part of yourself. This part of you that in the Eastern philosophies we acknowledge will continue on even as your body passes away and comes back into the earth from which it was born and created. So you can feel all the elements within yourself: earth, water, air, fire. And in our yoga tradition, we also acknowledge ether, this more subtle aspect. So for these last few moments of practice now, just come into a position that feels good for you to rest. So you can come to flat Shavasana, or you can stay in this position where your legs are elevated. And we have a few more minutes. I'll give you a little bit of sound bath now. Feel free to change your position whenever you like. Stay connected to the rhythm of your breath and see if you can stay in this idea of practicing letting go, to be in the flow of life.
Breathe deep into your belly. Allow yourself to meet tension and fear and hesitancy. Hold space for it. And allow it to move on. Continuing to relax for just a few more moments. Let your body feel heavy and your spirit light. Let's take this safe sanctuary space and time. Feel a sense of connection to your spirit, to your inner light. Feel the way that that strike of the chime can just kind of cut through the heavy energy. Feel a sense of capacity for light and hope and power within yourself. Take a deep breath in through the nose and then a couple breaths out through your mouth with this intention of clearing old energy out, of letting yourself be in that process of flow, being present and moving forward. And then stretch your arms and your legs and wiggle your toes. Wiggle your fingers. Can you wiggle your toes?
No.
And circle your ankles and your wrists. You can kind of point and flex them. It's hard to wiggle them. And then take your time and come up to your seat. You can sit on the floor or in the chair. And once you get up, just move your head, neck a little bit, however feels best for you. You can roll your shoulders so the mic doesn't fall off my ear.
Oh. Maybe she has an ear.
And then breathe in, reach up and out. Give yourself a giant hug. Curl in, rock it out a little bit. Inhale, open it up, send a little light out to the world. Hug in. Back out to the sides. Inhale up. Exhale, hands together in front of your heart. Let your eyes close and just take another quiet seated moment. Perhaps take a moment here to make some intentions for your day or the days to come. Perhaps a moment here to offer a prayer for your own life or for the world around you. Just feeling yourself as much at peace in the flow, open to life, and as long as it feels helpful to have a little bit of that light of hope within as well. And we'll finish with an Om, breathing out through your nose and back in. Full deep breath in. Bow your head to the beauty and love in your own heart. Namaste.
Namaste.
All right, good work, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,